All right, welcome back into the LFC Transfer Room. It's Jack Edwards and it's Ta Lau. We don't have a creative name yet for the segments that we do together. We do the watch-alongs, we do these together. Ta, my friend, how are you doing?
Doing good. Before coming into the show, I saw what you were wearing, and I was like, what is going on here? I'm severely underdressed.
Let's have a poll in the comments. When you're pulling up, rather be just like him, just like me. I'm picking him. I'm picking him, to be honest. It's a hell of a kit. I mean, I still can't get over how nice of a kit that was. That's this year's, correct?
Yes, this is this year's away kit. And when it launched, I think Ibrahima Konate?
Yeah, I think he was one of the first guys to model it.
Yeah.
It is a good kit. And it's part of that Nike deal. But no, we got a few things on deck today. Obviously, Inter Milan was as Klopp said himself, there are matches you don't want to tactically lose, obviously, but they lost against Inter Milan, but they advanced to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. That'd be remarkable if they lost that. But we have Inter Milan look back, a bit of even further behind that into West Ham. Kind of the recent form has been a bit of a dip, almost. The results have been there. There's been a dip in the form. Look forward to Brighton as well as kind of big macro season things as well. But that Inter Milan match yesterday, kind of divided opinion. Liverpool heavily dominating the XG, hitting the post several times, some big chances missed by Salah. Matip hitting the bar as well. It was a 1-0 defeat, but Liverpool got through in the end. When you look at it on the balance of things, are you happy, not happy with how that match panned out?
Jack, I don't usually celebrate 1-0 defeats, but hey, if it...
That'd be an odd thing to do on a normal day.
If a 1-0 defeat gets you through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, I'll take it every single day of the week. I mean, you look at the game from a big picture. I understand that Liverpool lost. I understand that, of course, every time you play at Anfield, you want to come out victorious. But when you have that 2-0 first leg victory, you play the second leg knowing that you're up 2-0, so that can mess with your mind a little bit. And it wasn't a game that Inter totally dominated and Inter deserved the win. I thought should have actually been a draw.
Yeah.
Liverpool had the chances, like you mentioned. Matip, his header hit the bar early on, could have been a 1-0 lead heading to halftime. And then Mo Salah, opportunities that you would often see Salah tuck away. He hits the right post and then the left post. And then Luis Diaz, I think with 2 minutes left on the clock before the stoppage time, has a chance to just calm the Anfield nerves. Instead, his shot gets blocked. I think he went for the no look. Too much of the Bobby Firmino effect there. So next time, just put your foot through it. But I thought that if the game was played 5-10 more minutes, Liverpool would eventually get the equalizer. Because Inter Milan, yes, they had the ball. Yes, they had a lot of possession in the middle of the park. But they didn't do many things with it. They just knocked it around. They lobbed it over the back line a few times. Lautaro Martinez finished a fantastic goal, but there weren't many clear-cut opportunities. And I thought that Liverpool could have easily drew the game or won.
Yeah, it was an interesting one where there was a big contentious one. I forget the exact player it was on Thiago, where there was the really bad challenge that was nearly a red card, wasn't called. Eventually, player was sent off in Alexis Sanchez. So Liverpool gets through, obviously, to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Who would you like to see most in the quarterfinals?
Preferably someone easier. So I'm looking at either the winner between Ajax and Benfica.
Yes.
That fixture is an interesting one. And Man United and Atletico. I don't think that any of those two sides...
Atletico scare me, man.
No, Atletico this season compared to the 2019 to 2020 season, I think I'd rather play Atletico again. But anybody except for PSG/Madrid or Bayern Munich. So I don't really mind.
Man City over 2 legs, you'd be comfortable with them?
I don't really care, honestly. Look, Man City, eventually you're going to have to play them in the league. Just take care of them in the Champions League as well.
That's
but
true.
I don't want to play a PSG or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich.
That makes sense. Yeah, so we've got that in terms of, let's talk about, the quadruple, which is incredibly ambitious to be talking about. But if you look at the next 3 matches before the international break for Liverpool, it's Brighton away, Arsenal away, Nottingham Forest away. And Nottingham Forest are a side who've knocked off some big Premier League opposition in their run currently in the FA Cup. But that's the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. I mean, the expectation is you're not an Arsenal, you're not a Manchester United, you're not going to drop to Nottingham Forest. It's not a free ticket to the semifinals. But I mean, you're in a spot where you're almost and you're in the last 8 of the FA Cup. How important do you think Klopp prioritizes that match as it's right before on the doorstep of the international break?
I think he's going to approach it similar to what Liverpool did in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup against Leicester, where it's still a lot of the subs playing.
Like a
Takumi
Minamino.
Minamino. Yeah, I did a story on him as well. Go check that out. The likes of Divock Origi, you're going to see the youngsters get a chance in midfield, a bit of rotation in the back line as well. Because you look at the fixtures leading into that one, like you mentioned, Brighton away. We're going to preview that. Mm-hmm. Arsenal, tough game. You don't get much of a rest from March 16th to March 20th. So if you play all your big guns and prioritize the Premier League, which I expect Jurgen Klopp to do, then there's going to be some tired legs and then there's going to be some carryover effect 4 days later. So it would make a lot of sense for you to play those subs against Nottingham Forest and then go again in the league. Because right now, priority number one has to be the Premier League, then the Champions League, then the FA Cup. So in that order, that's where Jurgen Klopp has to focus his attention. And I think that an away trip to Nottingham Forest, Liverpool's B team or Liverpool subs should be able to get the job done.
Yeah, and when you look at, in general, Liverpool's priorities across competitions, it's in a very odd way. The Premier League is in their hands. They're 6 points behind Man City with a match in hand. They win that match in hand, they're 3 points behind. They have a head-to-head with Manchester City. Theoretically, if they win every single match out, and there's 11 matches to go, it'd be a remarkable close to the year to win 11 in a row. Mm-hmm. You're winning the title, unless City can beat you on goal difference and just be putting goals and goals past teams. But Liverpool, have a serious chance at number 20 in the Premier League, winning a 20th top division title in England. Ahead of them is Brighton. What's your optimism level for that Brighton match?
I'm optimistic, obviously, with Brighton. And looking back when the two teams met in 2021, it's important to also remember that Brighton got a point at Anfield. It was a 2-2 draw. Henderson scored an early goal. Mane made it 2-0. It was cruise control from then on, but then Brighton all of a sudden just turned up a notch. They countered. They found a lot of space behind Liverpool's back line, and I think the goal scorers that they Mwepu and Trossard, which Trossard has a lot of pace. Adam Lallana started that game as well. He could command a lot of what Brighton do going forward. But looking at this game, Brighton have not been good recently. They're sitting 13th in the Premier League table, 2 wins in their last 10. So not a good form. But they're not that bad that they're in relegation form where they have to play for their lives and go that extra mile, because they're just 7 points away from that magic 40-point number that a lot of people think will be the points tally you need to stay in the Premier League. So they're not in a position that Liverpool will go there and face against a team that will be fighting and doing everything to stay up. And playing before Manchester City this weekend is also another big factor, because you put that pressure on City if you win. It's only 3 points left.
Yeah, it was Tottenham, I think, when they took the points off of them, of Manchester City, I should say, where Liverpool played first, and then there was almost a bit of unspoken pressure. Man City could say they're only focused on themselves all they want. That exists. You mentioned that Brighton-Liverpool match from October. It was October 30th, it was. No Fabinho, no Thiago in that match. I'm assuming Thiago doesn't have any injury concerns after that Inter match. It was obviously a tough tackle on him.
He's fine. He's fine. He got up and he slapped Alexis Sanchez. Like, what are you doing, boy? Like, I just got back from injury. Like, what are you doing? Trying to put me in the hospital again? But that was an ugly tackle. Anyways.
Yeah, no, it's vital. I think you got to be starting, because then I think the question has to be asked. You have Arsenal a few days after that, and then the FA Cup. How many matches is Thiago playing in the final 3 before the international break for you? I'm gonna say he's playing 3. I think you're getting the most out of him, because I almost think you can't afford to, put him in bubble wrap when he is fit. Obviously, don't push him too hard. Sub him off at 60 minutes if you're doing well against Brighton.
Yeah.
But you need a guy who can control that match, because, Brighton came from 2 goals down at Anfield. They're a side who's got it in them. They're not in good form, obviously. I'm saying Thiago got to start him until just start him.
Yeah, there's a few meme players on Brighton's side. You have the likes of Maupay up top, his chaos with AFTV. That's just something that we can talk about for another day. And Danny Welbeck's in Brighton as well, and Adam Lallana. So they have a few players who can cause Liverpool some trouble. But you're right, on Thiago's point, he has been the best midfielder this season, in my opinion, for Liverpool. So it's very key that in games where there's a bit of uncertainty, it's a team that did earn a draw at Anfield, you put your best midfielder in there to boss the game, control the tempo of the match. And then if you're up 2 or 3 by halftime, 60 minutes, 50 minutes, sub him out.
Thiago, it's unbelievable the difference that he makes for Liverpool. It's night and day. And it's almost been unfortunate that the injuries have kept him out for all the matches he's missed, because when he plays, when he's on his day, I mean, it was moronic in the first year he was here last year that people would say, he slowed Liverpool down. He was not good for Liverpool. He is as good a technician, as good a footballer as there is in world football. He's unbelievable in the midfield. It'd be very important to have both him and Fabinho ready. Your prediction, it's an early one for us, 7:30 a.m. Actually, no, you're going to be over.
Yeah, I will be in England for this next week, but
This
I won't
is
be at
incredible.
this game. Might try to be at the Arsenal game, but for this game, yeah.
Subscribe for that, because you haven't been to a Premier League match. have you?
Never, yeah. I'll be watching from some bar, I think.
So that's going to be 12:30 p.m. for you. It'll be 7:30 a.m. for me. Yeah, I'll be, usually in our chat, it's a lot of the UK people, obviously, and then us, who are two of the few Americans that are around. And usually I can always relate with you, Todd. It's like, oh, it's an early match. It's tough for us. But now you're leaving me.
Yeah.
It's very sad. But your prediction for that one?
I'm going to go with a 2-0 win. I think that Mo Salah will score. He's not scored for 2 weeks now, and I think people are freaking out like, oh, Mo Salah's like his form's dropping. He's not the same player. Everybody calm down. Look at the stats, goals per 90. The season that he's having right now, his goals per 90 is at 0.79. That's second best so far out of the 5 seasons he's been a part of Liverpool. So everybody calm down. Everyone has some slumps. It's Mo Salah, guys. Calm down.
Yeah.
So Salah is going to score, and Luis Diaz, why not?
That would be a big one for him, because he's been, I think the biggest issue he's found moving to England has been scoring. I mean, and that's not to say he's been poor since arriving, because he has hit the ground running. It's remarkable about his ability. I saw a tweet pretty recently. It was about Thiago or Luis Diaz needs to get this out of his game. And it was a clip of him running from the edge of his own box to the edge of the opponent box in that West Ham match. I was watching that, and I was saying, how on earth can you see a guy take on half dozen players, dribble past them with speed, get fouled in a great position? Yeah, he could have laid it off for Salah numerous times, but, I mean, he is a difference maker. He's a hugely important player. It'd be great for him to get a goal in that Brighton match. Looking kind of backwards almost a little bit, it's probably an awkward order to do these things.
All good.
Since the Leeds match, which was a 6-0 drubbing, and that was the final nail in the coffin for Marcelo Bielsa, it was a 0-0 between Liverpool and Chelsea. It was 2-1 between Liverpool and Norwich, 1-0 between Liverpool and West Ham, and 0-1 between Liverpool and Inter. So in those 4 matches, you've only scored 3 goals. You've drawn 1. You obviously won on penalties, so happiness there. You lost 1, but you advanced, so happiness there. There's a great aura around Liverpool right now because they've advanced in numerous competitions, and they won a competition not even less than almost 2 weeks ago now. Are you worried, Ta, that it's not a false state, but are you worried that things could come crashing down pretty soon, considering the recent form?
It's like a fire alarm, but a fire alarm that went off not because there's a fire, but there's sort of like a smoke starting.
Okay.
And the way I feel about the 4 most recent games for Liverpool is that we've been found out a bit. There's been a bit of some defensive issues that I've been seeing, and a lot of the chances that Liverpool have given up, whether it's the West Ham game or the Chelsea game before that, or even against Inter last night, when our defensive backline pushes up and we play that high line, and that one ball from the other team somehow finds the attacker, that's when Liverpool's in the most danger of the situation.
I think about that Fornals chance against West Ham where he was onside.
Fornals chance where he was onside. Lukaku even in the Carabao Cup final where...
Let's talk about that. I think he was onside.
I think he was onside as well. And look, that could have changed the entire...
Look at the Mane goal against West Ham.
Yeah.
It's other Brighton fans, especially Chelsea fans, were furious with that. And I sit there and I can't really take much exception with that because it feels like it was just... I mean, granted, maybe both are offside. One's offside, one's onside. It's never fun when the game comes down to a matter of inches like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you think about how fine the margins have been. that Lukaku. I mean, if Van Dijk is a millimeter further down the pitch, if
It would change the entire complexion of the game.
It changes that. Liverpool probably lose that match.
Yep.
I don't know how you bounce back in the FA Cup, in the Premier League, in the Champions League. They've been riding the edge of, incredible getting it done versus, you're starting to struggle. They've been riding that edge on a razor thin margin after kind of being very cruising in the positive. I'm worried at least, huh?
Yeah, I am as well. I mean, you look at that West Ham game. Good thing that you mentioned Fornal's chance, but I think the better opportunity was Lanzini, because Lanzini had like a sitter. The ball set up in front of him, and he skied it. So that could have changed the way that game finished in the end. And a lot of opportunities that I've been seeing Liverpool give up down the wings. When Trent goes bombing forward, it's like two sides of the coin. His ability to pick out passes, to cross, to do all the attacking. Defensively, though, when he's shifting up, Robertson as well, when he's bombarding forward, and that diagonal ball gets fouled out, Van Dijk or Matip or Konate, they're not fast enough to go and cover down the wings and then shift over back towards the center to cover the center forward, because it's like marking two players, one winger and one center forward. So for me, that's the defensive issue that has been sort of occurring in the past 4 games.
I want to draw on that a bit more from you, Ta. Are you, because at least I'll give you my perspective first then, is I don't look at that and say Trent is a bad defender or he's defending poorly. I think that's just a matter of the system. And I think that Liverpool, I would love to see more matches where they're in control. That's the thing I've been, struggling with. I mean, look at Manchester City against Manchester United. They were toying with them at the back end of that match. They weren't continuing with the high line. I love the high line. It's incredibly effective, works incredibly well. But I think that you cannot, keep on leaving matches so open and making it so that way teams can find ways back into these affairs. Because, I mean, Norwich got a goal, made it a bit awkward. Inter got a goal, made it a bit awkward. You've been doing enough. I think Brighton's the perfect opportunity to thump a few past them and really right yourself. I think a 3-0 win is right where Liverpool needs. It's early. It's the early block. So it's always an awkward one to kind of predict a normal result in. But, there's that one there. Arsenal and Nottingham Forest following up there. The quadruple is still on, Ta. Quarterfinals of the FA Cup and the Champions League. Second, with it not in your hands, but you need a little bit to go your way, in the Premier League. We are about 2 months out from the end of the season. How many trophies Liverpool have at the end of the year?
Well, one right now in the books.
One right now.
I'd say Liverpool finishes with at least 2.
At least 2.
At least 2.
What are the odds best for you in your mind for the trophy?
FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League.
That makes sense. Oh, so you're saying Champions League is the least likely?
It's the least likely. Yeah, I for me think that hoping for a City slump is easier than beating 2 tough teams in a home and away fixture back to back. So I think that for me, Manchester City have shown that they can lose games out of the blue, like that Tottenham game. And Liverpool at the same time can show that they can go on a bit of a streak. And at the end of the day, it's not a performance business, it's a results business. So these games that Liverpool are winning, it's an ugly win, but it's a win.
Yeah.
Manchester City are going out there playing some of the best football you can see. But from time to time, they turn up and they lose against a side like Spurs that they have no business losing against. So I still have confidence in Liverpool that Klopp has learned from his mistakes from the previous seasons of not maybe managing the entire Premier League season correctly. And his whole attention will be shifted towards the Premier League. I think the Champions League, the draw, it'll kind of hint towards how much you emphasize.
One-on-one, I always trust them in the Champions League more than the Premier League, because I think Liverpool, their depth and their quality and reserves compared to Manchester City, there's a bit of a discrepancy there, which means that over a 38-match season, I would trust Man City more typically than I would trust Liverpool to win a title, versus in a season where there's 6 group stage matches and then 7 knockout matches, much smaller, condensed, where it's just about big matches and one-on-one, how you match up with individual top-tier teams. I think with Thiago, with Fabinho, with Salah, with Van Dijk, with these superstars up and down the squad, I always trust Liverpool there. But it is It is a beautiful spot to be in, Tom.
Yeah, it
because
is.
I think I think back sometimes about a year ago when Liverpool were playing in, trying to make it to the top four. They were out of every competition, just trying to make it and get in Champions League football this year. And we're blessed to say that we have 4 trophies, 1-1, 3 more potential trophies to win for this season. So you said 2-0 for Brighton. In terms of Arsenal and Nottingham, how optimistic are you for those two to round out the international break?
Well, I'm trying to attend the Arsenal game, so I'm going to predict the Liverpool win, because if I'm there and for my first ever Premier League game, Liverpool lose and then go 6 points or maybe 9 if we drop even more behind Manchester City, I'm not going to have a good time in England. So I'm going to go with a win there. Score predictions, usually Liverpool and Arsenal. I've seen recently that Arsenal have been quite level with Liverpool, so I don't think it's going to be like a 4 or 5-0 thrashing. It might be just a lone 1-0 go. Diogo Jota, he loves scoring against Arsenal, so maybe something like that. And then Nottingham Forest, got to go with my boy Takumi Minamino. He's the domestic cup king, man. I mean, this guy is the most selfless player you can imagine. His entire rise, you can go check that out on the LFC Transfer Room channel. But two wins for those 2 games, and let's make it 3-3 with Brighton as well.
Yeah, it should be a very interesting few matches headed into the international break. On the other side of that, there's Watford on the 2nd of April, and then I think a title decider, Liverpool, Manchester City, April 10th. It's a Sunday in the 4:30.
I'll be wearing a nice suit for that preview of the game. We'll be sitting here. I want to be wearing a nice suit just like you.
Well, that is a great segue kind of towards the end of this show, Todd. We don't really have these are kind of they're not directionless. They're kind of just relaxed discussions on Liverpool. When we're back, it'll be after our spring break as us as college students. It'll be ahead of that match between Liverpool and Manchester City, which is going to be, as long as Liverpool and Man City hold up their end of the bargain, continue winning matches, that's going to be an absolutely immense affair at the Etihad on the 10th of April. So we'll be back as a preview for that. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll have streams nearly daily. We'll have videos coming out a lot. Transfer rumors, player analysis, tactical analysis, everything you would need to know about Liverpool Football Club and surrounding Premier League, European football that surrounds it. But it's always fun discussing Liverpool with you. That's going to do it for our show here today. We'll catch you next time on the LFC Transfer Room.
Peace.